and welcome to the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I'm Julie Podewitz, CEO and founder. And today I welcome Sherrie Bebell to the show. Sherrie, welcome.
Hi, Jules. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here finally. We've been trying to
Hello.
do this for a while.
I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to have you. And you and I have known each other for many, many years and in many different roles, right?
Yes.
If you get bored, just wait a little while and it's the road kind of
Yes. You
turns.
were my mentor. You were a sales mentor for me early in my career. Oh, well, I won't say it like that. I don't want to age us. That doesn't
No,
sound right.
that's okay. Hey,
But you have always been a mentor. So
thank you.
always excited
Like
to
that.
connect with you.
It's always my pleasure. And gosh, age is a blessing, right?
Yes.
Okay. And would you go back, Sherrie, and do everything again in your 20s? Would you go back to your 20s?
Maybe not 20s, 30s. If I knew then.
But you can't do that. You have to go back and you have to just stumble through again. That's
Maybe.
the
I don't know. I'm loving where I am now,
I'm
right?
so
Just
glad.
enjoy where you are.
I 100% agree. Well, Sherrie, you are the sales and marketing vice president of Columbia Pacific Advisors, right?
I
And
am.
I tell us a little bit about, first of all, about you and your role there. And I wanted to ask you, I see some um, other
I
titles under
keep
your name.
I just keep adding hats to my hat tree because you can never do enough in this industry, right? Um, so I've been in the industry for kind of more than 20 years. I feel that right now today, because I love what I do and where I am, it's almost a little unique because I have been at every level of sales and marketing in our industry, right? Community, regional, divisional, corporate. And now for the last 7 years, I've been on the investor side, which literally has given me 360 degrees of exposure to our industry and very specific to sales and marketing, which makes asset management at Columbia Pacific a little different than most private equity or REITs because we have subject matter experts in every discipline, which helps us be incredible partners to all of our operators. So CPA owns or has investment in a little more than 200 communities, like 250 communities. And we've got about 40 management companies or more than 40 management companies that manage those communities for us. Now, I'm not tooting a horn here and saying I have exposure and connection and deep relationships with all 40, but I do have a core group of just under 20 operators that manage a couple of portfolios for us that are high priority to CPA that I have regular interactions and exposure and partnership with, which sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I'm getting
That's
tired.
17, 18, 19, 20 operators, 20 different cultures, philosophies, right? The
Right.
200 or say 160 communities that are really in our focus portfolios. But having that exposure and partnership and insight and connection, I God, I don't even know how you put a term to it unless you're in a company like CPA. When in your career are you going to have that kind of experience and insight and knowledge and what's working and what's not working? And incredible that every operator is open not only to partnership with us because we've got the disciplines, but in us having influence and counsel and advice and partnership with us and trying different things, right? Like all of these tools that are out in our industry right now, we have a big enough group that I can approach to say, hey, here's something that we think might be a good tool and might work. Are there some yellow and some red flags? Are you interested? And then we have the ability to see, does it work? How does it work? And what's the return on the investment for that? So again, unique experience. I love all of our operators and the partnerships that we have and being able to focus on sales and marketing, rainbows and lollipops in our industry.
It's always fun, right? Well,
Right.
so having that exposure and having conversations. You're not sitting in an office, not, in the weeds. So you have the conversations and you hear. So tell me about what challenges, and I know there are many, because, selling senior living is tough, right? It's the best business to be in, but until you sat in the seat, it is impossible to understand how difficult it is. It kind of seems easy, right, from the outside, I think, but it's very challenging. What challenges really come to mind, maybe for the present time, that, based on all your relationships and the operators you're working with and challenge communities? What comes to mind?
So I start every year with a few themes of how can I help our partners, our communities grow in this next year? What are some of the things that we can focus on from a global perspective that are going to affect the on-site communities, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about what the community needs. And every level of relationships that we have to look at what are the actions, what are the strategies at every single level. And again, having this exposure that I have in the unique experiences that I have, I'm able to look at what are the broad themes and what does it mean to the investor? What does it mean to the corporate team, the regional, divisional or regional team? And at the community level, I literally think this through every step of the way. So this year, coming through a beautiful, crazy budget season that takes up all of October, November, and December, and sometimes even the first couple of days of January, I'm thinking through taking in, experiencing and going through what the historical trends have been through the budget season, and then, getting those budgets really tight. I have to say, I feel the most confident about 2024 from a budget perspective, but also an execution perspective than I have in, obviously the last 4 years have been very difficult and coming out of COVID, et cetera. But even if you compare 2024 capabilities back to 2019, at the third and fourth quarter of 2019, our industry was strong. We had so many capabilities if it hadn't been for, obviously, the pandemic. So I feel like 2024 is the year that our industry is going to come back and be stronger than ever. The themes that I came up with for this year that I'm working with all of our operators on, these are going to sound a little funny, but I think you're going to love this. The first one is pivot to profit. Yeah, we don't have time to look at a T90, right? We can't look at 3 months historical. We have to look at every 30 days. Did we meet budget? Are we on budget? Are we trending? Are we getting to the pro forma of what we put down as a budget? And if not, what changes need to be made right now? We don't have time to wait and see anymore. The excuse bucket is empty. There's nothing left, right? We have to do everything that we can. And again, I look at every single level from the investor down to the community. So pivot to profit is really important this year. The second one, and this ties into your last podcast where you talked about outreach is not dead. I came into this year with a phrase of your network is your net worth.
Oh, I'm jotting this down. The excuse bucket is empty. I love the excuse bucket is empty. Love that. Your network,
it's hard. You can't say that to a community, right?
I know.
Some of these themes are really geared towards the regional, divisional, and higher.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
It's the how do we message it to the community? We have to be very protective of those who are working so hard in our communities and relieving them of some burdens where we can. So a lot of that is in messaging. We need to protect them, but your network is your net worth is really that message is for the community. Getting out and doing your external business development, your outreach, whatever the term is for the different operator, whatever the terminology is for the culture. As salespeople in a community, what we gear towards and try and hire those people who want to be with people, right? So when we are tasking them with more and more burdens. I'm going to say burdens. Burden's not the right word. Higher and higher expectations.
Mhm.
They have to do everything, right? They have to get the tours. They have to do the discovery. They have to have speed to lead. They have to get out of the building. They have to trust their A team, right? Like there's so much, and our prospects are savvier than ever, right? The adult children are very technically inclined. They don't have a challenge or a worry about utilizing the internet to try and find the answers, right? The 6,000 internet searches an hour for long-term care, 90% of all leads are coming from a digital source. About 50% of those people who are searching are looking for financial information. Why are we better about providing that on our websites, right? Like it's been a challenge, and you either believe in it or you don't believe in it. But I get away from your network is your net worth.
So being out, so you, I
They
know
have to get out.
we're
They
gonna have to
have to want to meet people,
do,
right?
yeah,
Be a solution for your skilled nursing and your rehabs and your doctors who don't even know what assisted living is. They think it's long-term care. They think it's a nursing home. They still just don't know. We no longer have to, in my opinion, we don't have to educate our prospects anymore about what is senior living. We've done that for the last 20 years, right? Those prospective residents, maybe, but more the adult children, they've already experienced something with senior living. We don't have to educate them like we used to 15 years ago. Our education needs to be with our professional networks. They need to understand what is it and what does a person, what does your client or your patient look like to be a good fit in a senior living community, and how their health and well-being can increase and be better by living in a community. So your network is your net worth. The last thing, and I actually just created a tool for this, and I'm doing a beta test with some of our operators, and everybody has or has had experience watching Grey's Anatomy, right? So Dr.
I've seen every episode. I am going to confess,
3 times.
Every episode from the very beginning, and I'm even through the bad seasons.
Yeah, those are a little hard to watch. But
But
Dr. McDreamy in the OR would say it's a good day to save lives, right?
Yeah, he
So
did say that.
I turned it to it's a good day to have a move-in, because we as an industry have allowed, I'm going to say allowed our sales teams to last minute move-ins, right? Oh, you can move in at the end of the month. And I think part of it is because, salespeople equate it with multifamily, right? When you live in an apartment in a garden community, you have to give a 30-day notice. You're going to pay every single one of those days before you move out to move into a new apartment. So you're going to move out on the last day of the apartment, last day, and then get into the next apartment. So I think it's a little bit of a mindset and understanding.
100%. 100%.
The tool that I just created, again, beta testing with some of my operators, is it takes your ADC and it color codes what the actual change in your ADC is based on when you're moving residents into the community.
I love it.
So typically what happens, all of your residents come out on the first of the month, and most of your residents are coming in at the end of the month.
That's a big problem right there.
You erode your ADC immediately.
Yep.
And then you don't, by the time they move in, your ADC for that entire month is still negative. So you can +1, you can net gain 1 and not change your ADC. Well, let me tell you what that looks like to the owners, right?
Oh,
I see that.
Sure. It's yeah, absolutely.
We've eroded your ADC. You're not on budget now going into the next month. And how much revenue have you lost? Right? Because we're already paying usually an aggregator. We're giving discounts and incentives, and you're moving people in at the end of the month. So what does it look like when you as a sales leader can manage the move-in by telling, we're already geared towards this is the next step.
We should be.
We need to keep investigating and investing and educating our sales team to shift their mindset. So those are my 3. Those are huge.
They're all big. They're all
big. Yeah. I'm so passionate about them. And the smallest changes that we can make in this That's still a pivot, and it's still going to lead us to a greater profit, right? So my pivot to
100%.
profit is my biggest. Um, Also having all of these operators that I'm partnered with and able to spend time with, and I hope that they find value in the relationships that we have with them as well. We, as you and I, we are resource partners, right? We are here to help our operators. I went through an exercise not too long ago and wanted to put a data set to really how many operators are out there. What's the average number of communities that they manage? Now, of course, it's a mixed bag. They're all over the place. But what I was able to define was, I'm going to say on average, I'm going to use a large number because it's very close to the number. There's about 35,000 senior living communities in the country. The top 50 operators, the larger management companies, only manage 15% of our entire industry. That's 85% of our operators are more regional operators, right? They're smaller companies. They, in many cases, do not have a subject matter expert for every discipline, right? The sales and marketing are typically covering both. Well, and when you're a small operator or smaller, let's say it's less than 60 communities that you manage, the expectation is you are on the road, you are in communities, you are visiting, you are in the, say, vice president or senior vice president of sales and marketing. You have a smaller regional team that has more communities that they're overseeing, right? Because the scale of what you have at a corporate level does not always allow you to have the fiscal, the financial means to have all of the positions covered and have all of the tools that are necessary to give to our communities.
Yeah, it makes
That's
more
how,
fiscal sense.
that's you and I.
Yeah,
That's how
exactly.
we
It makes
came
more
to
fiscal
be.
sense not to hire a full-time FTE, reach out. And of course, it's, we're speaking probably, I don't want to sound self-promoting, but
I get it.
but I mean, I hire subject matter experts for, I'm sure you do, in our personal life, professional life,
Yep.
and so real quick, and we're going to have to do part 2. Because you've got such a vast amount of knowledge, and I've taken a lot of notes. And to be clear, you're saying you used an acronym that ADC, which for those of you that might be unclear, is average daily census, right?
Thank
so
you.
instead of looking at month-end occupancy, it's average day. So the revenue that is being received on any given day, and that's doing this, really knowing your business. So real quick, and then we're going to do part 2. You've got more, that's what you do at CPA. I'm already tired, but I see some more initials and things under your name. So tell me about resources.
Another
of senior living financial specialist.
Yes,
And I'm guessing
thank you.
you are a financial specialist. Does a little bit about that and maybe a resource you provide. And we're doing part 2 soon.
Thank you. Thank you. So the Senior Living Financial Specialist program came about from working with my operators of the communities that we own and the management companies that manage those communities for us. Coming through the pandemic, I was looking for how can I layer in and give our communities a tool and a resource without getting in their way to help them gain either more fair share or be able to move in more residents. We're always just looking for that one more, right? Every single month, just one more move in. And what I was able to do was put together a group of sales specialists, tenured, experienced, stellar salespeople who work directly with the sales directors in our communities. And now outside of CPA, it's available and out for any community and any operator to utilize the program. But they couple with your sales team at the community and help the families and prospective residents identify what financial resources are available to them, and then we chaperone them through the entire process. So typically what would happen in a community without using us is you have maybe one or two resources that are given to your company. This is your strategy, your initiative for your company as an operator, and you get a piece of collateral. And the sales team at the community basically just hand that piece of collateral to their prospective resident and say, here you go. I hope that this might be a solution. I hope you find a solution, and I hope you come back to me. I took hope out of the game. There's no hope left. We are a dedicated team working with these communities to help them, help those residents identify what resources could be appropriate and available, walk them through the entire process so they're not dropped off a cliff or expected to do all of it on their own, which we know takes a lot of time and a lot of management. And it's helping communities get those 1 extras and 2 extras every single month. So that's the financial specialist program. And I just became an ambassador for Bridge the Gap. So that's my newest title. I'm super excited about it.
I love that. I did some podcasts for them and was engaged with them in that regard. And it's a great group of, well, senior living, and you already know this. I mean, what better people join senior living? I mean, there isn't, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Sherrie, if somebody, I could listen to you all day. Somebody was interested in, because it sounds to me like you provide that additional support for when prospects are stuck in the pipeline, which most of them do, my mantra, let's just open the funnel on the bottom just a little bit. And that's what you do. So you have your team works with the community sales and market sales and ops to say, hey, look, if it's a financial, which so often it is, here are resources, like really specific resources. How does someone get a hold of you?
You can look up our website, seniorlivingfinancialspecialist.com. I know it's a mouthful, or you can email me, Sherrie, SHERRIEB at columbiapacific.com. Ask Julie. Julie will shoot you a text with my phone number and contact.
I will absolutely do that.
Thank you.
Sherrie, part 1. Now, you know what? This is like a double episode of Grey's Anatomy, right? Where it's like, stay tuned and remember the well, they'd still do it. We have to wait to the next week to watch. Remember the
I'll be here.
episode? Yeah. So this is, I think, more exciting than Grey's Anatomy. I don't know. I'm not exactly McDreamy, but it's if you're listening to it audio.
Right. Thank you, Julie.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure. And thank you all for listening or watching another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps other people like you find us and learn about all of the resources available to you, one of whom is Sherrie. And of course, anytime you need anything, you can always reach out to me. Again, thank you so much, Sherrie.
Thank you.